can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What's up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Blur Without Fear. Welcome back to the channel. Alright, so today's video, I'm going to be talking about She-Hulk number 9 by Rainbow Rowell and Takeshi Miyazawa. The main thing I want to talk about in this issue is something that happens that eerily reminds me of the She-Hulk Attorney at Law season finale on Disney+. There was this huge thing that happened in the end of that series that if you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, because I'm gonna spoil the shit out of it. But one of the things that happens in a very John Byrne sensational She-Hulk fashion, as Jennifer Walters has been kind of doing off and on throughout the course of that series, there's a point that she reaches where she breaks the fourth wall entirely. At a point where the big, Dukaroo that happens at the end of the season, which kind of felt like it was honestly very out of place. Characters were just showing up out of nowhere for no reason whatsoever. Hulk, Abomination, Titania, so on and so forth. All these characters showing up and just getting to a big brawl for it all, which kind of seemed out of place for a show that was supposed to be a fun lawyer show and kind of a slice of life series. Yeah, it just seemed stupid. And Jennifer Walters agreed. And in doing so, she decided to rewrite the narrative herself by breaking down the fourth wall, hopping out of the Disney Plus app, going to Marvel Studios, and trying to talk with the writer's room, and then ultimately with Kevin Feige, though Kevin Feige was not Kevin Feige, it was a robot. But that was the type of thing you would see in the old John Byrne sensational She-Hulk, and she does something very similar in this issue, only instead of kicking down the fourth wall, going to Marvel Studios, she is talking to us, the reader. And I would actually say not just us, the reader. She's actually more specifically talking to Rainbow Rowell and Takeshi Miyazawa. There were some people I saw on Twitter that got offended because it kind of seemed like She-Hulk was talking shit about the readers. It actually wasn't the case. If you pay closer attention to everything that Jennifer Walters is saying in these final pages of She-Hulk, it actually makes sense. She's referring to Rainbow Rowell more than anybody else. This was something that John Byrne used to do all the time in Sensational She-Hulk. He would have She-Hulk make fun of him, to make fun of the other writers and artists and people at Marvel and people in comics in general. He was taking the piss out of a lot of the comics industry and the fandom. He was always treating everything in a very meta fashion in those old Sensational She-Hulk issues. There was even a point in one of the issues where when John Byrne started drawing the comic in a very different style, he had a comic book version of the, at the time, editor of She-Hulk, Renee Witterstatter. He had her come in and criticize him for drawing the comic in a different style that looked more like an artist from a rival imprint. That was just a normal thing they did back then, and in this case, it's more of the same. Where in this issue, the new villains that She-Hulk is facing off with, both Doctors Booth, who tried to recreate the process that turned Bruce Banner into the Hulk, and having turned themselves into very different versions of the Hulk that aren't quite as favorable for themselves, whereas one of the Doctors turned himself into a Savage Hulk version, only maybe more regressed than what Savage Hulk normally is, and with the other turning herself into something more like the leader, complete with a giant cranium. Now, I'm interjecting here in this one, and I know I'm wearing a different shirt than I was before. Sorry, this is something I had to add in after the fact, but I had to go back and re-record this because it got corrupted in the recording process. Anyway, this is Blur Without Fear from the future going back to the past to tell you all that another reason why this is such a huge deal for Jennifer Walters in this current iteration of She-Hulk is because, for the most part, She-Hulk has not been breaking the fourth wall for quite some time. As a matter of fact, some of the last few times that we've seen She-Hulk break the fourth wall was in She-Hulk Volume 2, number 3 by Dan Slott, where one of Jennifer's co-workers, Stu, asked her if she's still able to break the fourth wall or if it was ever actually really a thing. And rather than look at Stu and tell him the answer, she looks at the reader and says, "I can't." And while she doesn't actively break the fourth wall in that situation, it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek way to homage that era of She-Hulk without actually directly doing anything. However, once Dan Slott left from his second run on She-Hulk, we would later see when Peter David picked up the book, he would have She-Hulk break the fourth wall somewhat more regularly. Not only would he do it there, but he would also do it in his She-Hulk sensational one-shot in 2010. He'd have Jennifer breaking the fourth wall once again, and then for the most part, She-Hulk would go fourth wall-less for quite a while, until around 2017 in Mariko Tamaki's Hulk number 11, where both She-Hulk and Hellcat would break the fourth wall, both going back and forth, speaking to the readers. That 2017 issue would have been the last time She-Hulk had broken the fourth wall. And while in another issue, Marco Tamaki had written Jennifer Walters in She-Hulk number 162 to be having an inner monologue and another character picking up on the fact that she was having an inner monologue, that isn't so much necessarily breaking the fourth wall, but was kind of just a tongue-in-cheek way to achieve that effect. It wasn't necessarily a fourth wall break, even though there were some allusions to it. But yeah, 2017 is the last time that we saw She-Hulk break the fourth wall. So roughly almost 5 years ago. Now, the reason why all this is happening, why Jennifer is tearing down the fourth wall, is because she just recently fell in love with the character of former Avenger by the name of Jack of Hearts. For those who don't remember, Jack of Hearts died in 2004's Avengers Volume 3, number 76. His zero energy had exploded and he had to fly himself out into the far reaches of space so that he wouldn't risk killing anyone on Earth with it. And of course, we saw him return again very briefly during 2011's Avengers, The Children's Crusade number 5, but he once again blew up there as well, and now he's actually legitimately back. And since then, he's been hanging out with Jennifer Walters, which that has a little bit of an iffy history in and of itself, considering that back during that Avengers Volume 3 run, roughly around the time of Avengers number 67 and 68, that was when Jack of Hearts was draining Jennifer of her gamma. So it kind of created this problematic relationship between the two, and right now, Jack doesn't have his powers, at least not really. His powers are kind of all over the place. He doesn't really seem to be the normal Jack of Hearts that he used to be, and he's kind of enjoying it. But in this issue, he sacrifices himself pretty much, trying to take back the zero energy that the Booth had stolen from him. Jennifer recognizes what he's about to do and starts tearing Rainbow Rowell a new one. And the reason why Jennifer is saying all these things, saying that you're no better than all the rest, is because it was this moment where Rainbow Rowell was setting Jennifer up for success. She was giving her everything she'd ever wanted. She got her life back. She was, starting to get her job back. She was getting her practice back as a lawyer. She was starting to find love in all the right places. And not only that, she was genuinely happy. The happiest I think Jennifer has been in a long time. Jennifer has had a long bout of the L's just hitting her one after the other, after the other, after the other. And now her life is back on track finally, and nothing can stop her except for the people writing the comic. And that is what she is referring to when she's talking about you're no better than all the rest, basically calling out the writer for saying, yeah, you are putting me through the same trials and tribulations and hurt and pain that all these other writers have put her through. And in a way, almost kind of like she resigns herself to accept that this is what this is and that she's going to have to do what she has to do. And when you start getting into some of the next pages where she's kind of going back and forth and talking about how I'm Jennifer Walters, I'm the She-Hulk, this, that, and the other, she's basically talking down, not to you, the reader, she's talking down to Rainbow Rowell. This is Rainbow Rowell taking the piss out of herself. And I thought it was really cool. I thought it was awesome to see Jennifer trying to take this narrative back. Whereas in the She-Hulk Attorney at Law finale, where Jennifer Walters said, no, I'm not letting you take this ending where you're just gonna mess up my show. This is my show. I'm gonna get what I want out of this. In this case, Jennifer is trying to do something very similar, where she's trying to break the fourth wall and try and show Rainbow Rowell that, yeah, you can try and take what you want from me, but I'm not gonna just let you do it. Now, in the end, it doesn't really matter because Jack of Hearts is actually going to take the zero energy back, and the thing that Jennifer Walters was afraid of happening happens just the same. And I feel like this is going to be one of those situations where, in this case, with Jack of Hearts, he's taken the zero energy back. It has seemingly killed him because his body just wasn't able to handle all that energy because he doesn't have his special suit. The suit that we used to see Jack of Hearts wear helped him contain that zero energy and safely wield it. But now, he doesn't really have the suit. He has the pants to it, but he doesn't really have the full suit itself. All he has is Jennifer Walters' sweater, and that kind of leads us to believe Jack of Hearts has just died for the third time. I know some people are not going to jive with it because they're going to get in their feelings and think that, Jennifer Walters, is talking shit about them, that She-Hulk is talking down to the readers, but no, that's not really who she's talking to. Everything she's saying is largely directed at the creative team behind the book, and it's the creative team that wrote it and depicted it, so get over it. But anyways, that's everything I wanted to talk about with She-Hulk number 9. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, if you're new to the channel or you always watch the videos but just forget to click subscribe, do that. Click subscribe subscribe, become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. I do videos every week about my favorite comics from Marvel and DC and other imprints, so make sure you turn on all notifications so you don't miss any of it. And also, before you head out, make sure to Hulk smash that like button and make sure to click the share button too, so that way we can expand Earth's mightiest subscribers beyond Plus Ultra. In the meantime, let me know what you thought about She-Hulk number 9. Keep it Plus Ultra and sound off in the comments.